Cody, first of all, just give us how'd the bye week go for the team, and how are you guys feeling coming into Eastern?
Yeah, the bye week was great. I think it's kind of cool the way the Big Sky did it this year, just segmenting. Half the conference having a week off. Just because I think a lot of people after that first initial stretch of the season in fall camp, a lot of your guys that are playing a lot can use a couple extra days to rehab and breathe. And we were definitely able to give some of our guys that have had a lot of reps and really been straining, able to give them a little bit of downtime, but also able to look at a lot of our young guys and kind of reassess where they're at and do some self-scouting as an offense, defense, and special teams and figure out where we can improve down the stretch.
What do you see from Eastern?
I mean, Eastern's probably, without question, the best program of the last decade in the conference. I know last year they didn't have the year that they wanted, but man, if you look at how they've recruited and reloaded, I mean, that portal was good to them. But they got a lot of new players in that are doing a really good job. A lot of veteran players who kind of weathered the storm last year and have either returned from injury or just are still contributing. I think. Coach Aaron Best, I mean, I don't know if there's anybody in the conference who's as tied to a university as he is. I mean, he was an Eagle, and he's been a coach there for a long time, and that dude, I mean, I think everybody bleeds red, but I mean, that guy's all about the Eagles, and you can see his passion when he plays. I think the team really feeds off that. I don't know if there's a team in the conference that plays just with as much energy as a total unit. I think their defense feeds off their offense feeds off of special teams. I mean, they've been like that for a long time, and obviously when the team plays with that much energy, there can be a vacuum of energy periodically if you can make a lot of plays. So that's kind of the goal. Is one of the greatest strengths of that program is the energy that they play with and the confidence that they have. So we got to try and do a good job of weathering the initial storm and then trying to make sure that we can create some confidence with our guys and hopefully diminish theirs a bit.
Cody, the quarterback situation at Eastern is kind of in flux. Their starter did not play against Idaho.
It's not in flux. He hurt his thumb and missed a game, and he's playing this week.
Okay, well that's
what's going on, yeah.
That's kind of my question. Do you have a gut sense as to what's going to happen? And just the fact that they played multiple guys, what does that do to affect your practice preparation?
Yeah, I mean, you have to be ready for a lot of stuff. I think some of the stuff that they did against Idaho, while it was drastically different, I think it's some stuff that you could expect from quarterbacks with maybe just skill sets where they know what they want them to do. I mean, obviously the one kid's a fantastic runner. The other guy's a little bit more of just their starter. But I think Kakoa Vesperis he's a talented dude. We have sources we're planning on Kakoa playing. That kids on the team have told us that he's playing again this week, and I don't think those kids would lie to the certain kids that told us. We're planning on him playing. If not, then you definitely have to have a package for the two different quarterbacks. So we did a lot of scouting at the Idaho game specifically. So we're going to have different calls if for some reason he doesn't go. But the plan is that he is going to go, and we've been preparing probably a little bit more off of the first 4 games than the Idaho game. Just obviously playing without the starter, especially when he's as dynamic as that kid, can be tough.
Cody, I'll follow up with another one.
Yeah, that's great.
Eastern appears, if you just go by the numbers, Eastern appears to be having problems stopping the run. Now, I know you've said in the past you do not want ISU to be a team that just throws the ball in every down. Is this a week where maybe there's more diversified of an offensive package to see if they can stop a running game?
Yeah, every week you're going to have to look at what you're doing well. And a lot of the stuff with us running the ball is more about, it's not what we want to do, it's what we can and cannot do. And if you look at some of the runs that they've had, man, Idaho did a fantastic job. They're Jason Eck does as good of a job scheming up the run game as anybody in the country at any level. They do a great job, and Anthony Woods is a fantastic player. So a lot of the runs that he had, if you can make a safety miss at 5 yards and run 60, good on you. It's not necessarily a scheme miss. And I think Eastern has, traditionally, they've kind of been on defense. They're trying to create turnovers. You talk about a program that feeds off of energy. They're not worried about giving up the small gains, and those big runs have come. If you look at the Davis game, it was the Larison kid busting off a 60-yarder and a 40-yarder. They weren't gashes up front. I mean, they're talented up front. They got some big guys that play hard. I think all of their starting linebackers are portal guys, transfer guys, and they play with great energy. I think for us, it's about trying to make sure we do what we do well. And we have to continue to expand on the running game if we're going to be a better program anyways. But we got to make sure we can't do what Idaho did just because Idaho did it, because Idaho's got different guys. They're handing it to different guys. They're blocking with different guys. But our guys do some stuff well, and I think there's some opportunities for us both in the pass game and on the ground to do some things differently. Not just because it's Eastern, but because after the bye week, you kind of look at, hey, you need to have more diversity from this formation. You need to have more runs that go to the field or to the boundary. So that's stuff that we looked at, and we're obviously going to try and attack Eastern as best as we can.
Cody, it's obviously been a while since the Montana game, but with how that game played out and how close you guys played the Grizz, how much confidence do you think, even in a loss, that game gave you guys that you can compete in the Big Sky with the best teams in the conference week in and week out?
Yeah, I think our kids have a lot of confidence, but it's not because of a game. Like you say, the close losses, we've had a couple of those this year where we say, hey, you're losing better than you've lost before, but you're still losing. I mean, our guys have the expectation to win, and I do believe in the moral victories, but really for our guys to look at it and say, wow, you false started and blew a red zone opportunity when you were on the 2-yard line, and you missed a field goal, and you didn't get any turnovers, and you turned it over twice to play it close. It's like, gosh, there's a lot of stuff in our control that's going to put us in more games. And I think Montana's as tough as an environment as you're going to play in this conference, maybe anywhere in the country. And really for our guys just to continue to respond despite the adversity that popped up, that was the most impressive thing. And that's the redeemable thing. It's not that you played Montana close. It's, hey, you got a tough environment. You didn't play great, but you kept responding to the call. And I think that's going to behoove this program and help us to continue to improve throughout the season.
Cody, you always talk a lot about turnovers and the turnover factor. Sure, I mean, anybody who follows football knows about that. Is there anything that you teach in practice or your defensive people teach in practice to try and cause turnovers or force turnovers?
Yeah, we have a 5-minute period every day where we're going and working on turnovers, and we have charts that we show guys in every team meeting about getting turnovers. I think a lot of the defense that we played, heck, we had one against Montana that it didn't go our way. We thought we pulled it out on the first drive and didn't get it, but that's how it goes. But those types of habits, even though you didn't get a turnover, those are the habits that you want to continue to encourage. And there's some stuff that you understand when you throw the ball, you're always going to kind of have one gimme, and I think for us it was, we had too many gimmies, and we're trying to eliminate those. And some of that is the scheme stuff that I call. I got to make sure that depending on how the game goes, I call safer throws for the quarterback, but they were intermixing short throws and handoffs accordingly, so those are not balls that are in danger. But on defense, our guys rep it all the time, and I think when you're in one-on-one tackling situations, getting turnovers can be tougher. And unfortunately, we have played really talented quarterbacks that have not given us opportunities, or we played quarterbacks that we're not going to throw it, period, so they weren't going to give us opportunities. So interceptions are always going to be easier to get than fumbles. You saw that happen a little bit. I just think in the Northern Colorado game, when somebody's going to throw it more and you give our D-line, which we believe is one of the strengths of our team, an opportunity to generate some pressure, then you're going to get more errant throws that can create interceptions. Fumbles, a lot of that, it's technique, it's effort, and it's having multiple guys at the point of attack, because the first guy always has to make the tackle. The second guy in is usually the one that has to force it. So for us, it's excuse me, it's continuing to work on pursuit and emphasizing to guys that when you're the next man in, you got to give a shot at that. And I've seen some encouraging things on tape from the last game. They didn't go our way, or they didn't pop out, but I was really pleased with the effort to try and get the ball out against Montana.
Cody, the Bengals are 15th in the nation in the FCS in penalties allowed, or in penalties given up. We average 4.6 a game. What is it about the team that leads to maybe that discipline that isn't getting flags thrown?
I don't know. I always think penalties, I think most people say, unless they're penalties that continue a drive or they're unsportsmanlike conduct stuff, it's something you try to not worry about, because penalties are going to happen when guys are playing hard. I mean, if you throw, linemen hold on every play. That's our linemen, that's the linemen that we play. They hold all the time. Now you try and make sure you hold within the frame of the body, so it's within the confines of the rule. But the reality is everything's living in the gray, and it's, did the ref see it? How egregious was it? Was it near the ball? That stuff's going to happen. And on defense, I mean, hey, pass interference or late hits, if guys are flying around, those might happen. We talk about playing disciplined football, and really it's the procedural penalties that you want to eliminate. So delay of games, false starts, illegal formations. For us on offense, we don't align in a ton of different formations, so it's easier for our guys to be very clear on the alignment, so we don't have procedural issues there. I think on defense, our Corey Rush just does an unbelievable job of making sure those guys have unbelievable get off and key the ball. I mean, probably more than any D-line coach I've ever been around. Those guys emphasize that all the time about watching the ball and having great eyes. I just think we got great kids, and maybe different games would breed different results. I'm not saying that it's something we preach about and talk about all the time. I just think we got good kids and good coaches that emphasize playing disciplined football.
Cody, how about you? You're halfway through your first season now as a head coach. Are you getting into a comfort zone?
No. Just because
that's an honest answer.
Yeah, I'm not in a comfort zone, which I think is a good thing. I mean, when you're comfortable, you're not growing, you're dying, and I think all the different stresses and resistance that's kind of comes with a new position have helped me learn more about myself and learn more about the staff and learn more about Idaho State. It's all been an amazing learning opportunity, but it hasn't been easy. People ask me if I like being a head coach, and you're just like, gosh, there's so much stuff about it that isn't awesome, but it's just the sense of pride that you have and the ability to have such a positive impact on kids and do things that you really feel at the core of your being are the right thing to do by the kids. So that's what I'm trying to do every day, and I'm super happy to be here and love the opportunity. And it's just being a part of an amazing community and helping amazing kids is a really, really special thing.
I know you talked about the QB split after the Montana game, and that's not necessarily always to be expected, but is it safe to think like maybe Cook's more the guy and Hayes is more situational, or is there a different way to describe it?
Yeah, I think that's kind of been the feel for all of it, at least for us, is that Jordan Cook is going to go if he can, but Hunter also deserves to play. Like I said, Hunter at the start when we talked to him, I said Hunter should play at least 10 to 15 plays a game. And that obviously didn't happen against Montana, but that was a little bit more with the front and the run game that we were getting and how well Jordan was playing, even though we didn't score every time. Just situationally, I thought he handled it and took some good safe shots. So Hunter will play a little bit more again this game just because I think schematically as we get going down the stretch, we're going to need Hunter, and some of the things that Hunter does really well are things that our team needs to play more consistently. So you'll see more of him against Eastern. How much? Again, I don't want to say he's going to play 20 plays and then he doesn't play 5. I mean, it's a lot of it's flow of the game or situational. But the plan is to play him and let him help this team.
Cody, the injury situation on your offensive and defensive lines, any better?
It is a little bit better. We're going to get Jacob Angel back, which is massive for us. He's a good player. So he's a guy that can kind of help spell all of our spots, which is going to be just to have 6 instead of 5 is a massive improvement because just his experience really helps the line and it shows. And he's come back and, he had a great bye week working back into it. We could have used him in the previous games, but we'll take him as we can get him, and we appreciate his toughness and his diligence and working through his rehabilitation protocol so he could get back. But yeah, it definitely helps us up front, which does help the run game when not that anybody's expendable, but anytime you have more depth, you feel more comfortable about taking more risks with those guys.